Y News with William Theo and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. President Rodrigo Duterte orders various law enforcement agencies to leave the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA, the conduct of all anti-drug operations in the country. Here's why from Mon Hokson.
Based on the memorandum order signed by the President yesterday, all law enforcement agencies like the Philippine National Police or PNP, National Bureau of Investigation or NBI, Bureau of Customs or BOC, and even the Ad Hoc Task Force will leave to the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA the conduct of all anti-illegal drugs operations in the country. This means that only PDEA will handle the Herculean task of executing the government's anti-drug operations. The Philippine National Police, meanwhile, said it is ready to follow the orders of the Chief Executive. The police will now focus on the eradication of crimes and internal cleansing among their ranks. Despite this, they are still ready to provide assistance to PDEA when needed. Meanwhile, PDEA admits the directive might have a negative implication to the existing drug operations the agency is conducting with the PNP.
Well, kasi siyempre, combined forces with the PNP on illegal drugs, the conduct of illegal drugs, mas malaki ang accomplishment namin. Yung number of operations being conducted, twice as many. Pero siyempre, pag kami lang ang nagkakandak, mababa in terms of figures, yung number of operations conducted.
PDEA Chief Aaron Aquino said yesterday during an interview on the program Get It Straight with Daniel Razon that the PDEA lacks manpower and that they only have more than 1,000 agents. Aquino says that in a successful drug operation, 60% was the work of the PNP, while the 40% was because of PDEA. The PDEA chief also admits that until now, the agency could still not stand alone on itself.
As of the moment po, DG, hindi nyo kayang kuhanin ang mandato ninyo na kayo ang dapat na lead agency when it comes to war on illegal drugs. Hindi nyo kayang i-take over.
Kaya.
So you will just
kaya.
So you will just let the PNP now lead yung war against drugs, ganun po ba?
We will lead the war on illegal drugs, but kailangan namin ng support ng PNP and all other law enforcement agencies. PDEA alone, we can't do it.
Although the task is difficult, PDEA assures that it will follow the directives of the President and promises to do all it can to fight against illegal drugs. The agency is just hoping to receive additional fund allocation so they could hire more agents and new equipment in order for them to intensify their operations. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Meanwhile, a lawmaker wants to replace the security system in the new Bilibid prison. Here's why from Ray Pelayo.
Magdalo Party List Representative Gary Alejano reveals that the drug trade in the new Bilibid prison continues. He says jail guards conspire with the inmates and even the unit from PNP Special Action Force was influenced, which resulted in their replacement. The lawmaker says the NBP needs to have a new system.
Kasi ang gwardiya, mababang sweldo, henerasyon din yung nagpapalitan yung gwardiya. Ang kulong, life sentence din. So they are helping each other to survive. No? Regardless kung sinong upo dahil temporary lang yan nakakaupo.
Alejano says inmates can freely use their cell phones because network signal jamming is manipulated.
Pag i-inspect, yes, gumagana ang ating jammers. Yan dyan. Pero sino bang nag-o-on yan? No? Pag wala nang tumitingin, off yan. So tuloy pa rin ang negosyo.
In yesterday's airing of Get It Straight with Daniel Razon, PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino said they discovered new players in the Bilibid drug trade. This after a drug pusher that PDEA operatives captured in Mandaluyong City last September 19 revealed that such activity is happening inside the NBP. The PDEA team recovered illegal drugs that costs 1.4 million pesos from Jobet Avellano in a condominium unit in Mandaluyong.
Nag-online selling siya ng ecstasy at saka shabu. Nung tinanong namin sa kanya kung saan yung sources niya, abay nakakulong sa Bilibid. And hindi man lang matunog yung pangalan niya.
Aquino plans to set up an office in NBP to monitor the drug trade.
Re-request ako kung pwede lahat ng cellphone sanang nakukumpiska doon at other valuable items na pwede namin pag-aralan.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
A group of human rights lawyers filed a petition asking the Supreme Court to stop the war on drugs of the Duterte administration. Rodrigo Mendoza will tell us why.
A group of human rights lawyers wants to end the extrajudicial killings under the so-called war on drugs of the Duterte administration. In a petition, Free Legal Assistance Group asked the Supreme Court to stop the implementation of the PNP Command Memorandum Circular 16-2016. The said circular set the guidelines on Project Double Barrel and Oplan Tukhang. The group says this issuance, from which the PNP is anchoring their war on drugs, is unconstitutional.
First, because it expressly authorizes the police to kill suspected drug pushers, users, or illegal drug personalities in the guise of neutralizing or negating them.
Another reason is that until now, President Rodrigo Duterte has not issued a written instruction on the campaign against illegal drugs. They said the PNP merely based the memorandum circular on Duterte's election promise to end the problem on illegal drugs in 6 months.
If you look at Command Memorandum Circular 16-2016, page 1, nakalagay doon references. Number 1, the verbal promise of the President to get rid of illegal drugs. We believe it is unlawful and unconstitutional for the PNP to implement a war on drugs based on a mere alleged verbal order of the President.
The group also wants to stop the implementation of DILG Memorandum Circular 2017-112 or the Masa Masid or Mamamayan Ayaw sa Anomalya, Mamamayang Ayaw sa Illegal na Droga. Through this, drop boxes were placed in barangays where anybody can submit the names of suspected drug pushers and users. The group said it violates the rights to due process and presumption of innocence. This is different from mere reporting of a crime like what the PNP is claiming.
But when you submit names, you don't have to have knowledge of any crime. Paniwala nyo lang yon. Ako'y naniniwala na yung kapitbahay ko ay isang drug user o drug pusher. Ibibigay ko ngayon yung kanyang pangalan. Ilalagay ko siya sa Dropbox.
Aside from a TRO, the group is asking the Supreme Court to issue a writ of amparo to protect the 3 petitioners and their families. 2 of them are relatives of victims of extrajudicial killings, while the other is an AJK survivor. PNP Chief General Bato de la Rosa and incoming DILG Secretary Eduardo Año were named as respondents. Rodrigo Mendoza, UNTV, News and Rescue, Manila.
And in other news, Senator Laila De Lima will file a motion for reconsideration over the dismissal of her petitions to nullify the arrest warrant issued against her. Victor Cosare tells us why.
In a statement, Senator Laila De Lima said she was dismayed and saddened by the decision of the Supreme Court on the 2 petitions she filed. The senator says she will continue to fight, further maintaining her innocence in the accusations against her. De Lima's camp is set to file a motion for reconsideration regarding the Supreme Court's decision. Magdalo Party List Representative Gary Alejano, meanwhile, believes the SC's decision on De Lima's case is a form of revenge.
Nangyayari ngayon ay napipilit natin yung batas para sang-ayunan ang polisiya ng isang administrasyon. So sa akin, nakikita ko dito, tama o yan, lalong mag-i-encourage yan sa authorities na kahit walang ebidensya. Kasi imagine mo, isang kaso is drug trading. Paano ka mag-drug trade na wala ka namang ni isa na nahulihan ka ng droga?
The High Tribunal explains her arrest has basis and the anti-graft court has no jurisdiction over the cases involving illegal drugs. Attorney Marwil Nacorliasos, a law reform specialist from the University of the Philippines College of Law, is worried over the decision of the country's High Tribunal, noting it seems to show a pattern that one can easily predict. Liaso cites as examples the SC's decision to allow the burial of former dictator Ferdinand Marcos at the libingan ng mga bayani, the implementation of martial law in the entire Mindanao, and lastly, the arrest and detention of the government's staunch critic, Senator Laila De Lima.
The Supreme Court has been so polarized already, and I doubt it if it's still already based on the hard facts of the law and the facts of the case, or there are political realities involved. At sa kaso ni Senator De Lima, na-achieve na ng pamahalaan ang purpose, no? Na to silence her, to put her behind bars para wala nang tutulig sa mga ginagawa ng administrasyon.
However, for House Minority Floor Leader Danilo Suarez, the Supreme Court's decision on the case of De Lima is appropriate.
I've seen the menace of the drug problem. And for 6 years, ikaw ang dapat nasa forefront ng laban against illegal drugs. Eh, ikaw pa ang nagsusuport. Paano naman natin hindi palalampasin yan?
Malacanang, on the other hand, refuses to comment on the issue. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
In a sudden turn of events, Commission on Elections Chairman Andres Bautista tenders his resignation to President Rodrigo Duterte, which he says will take effect by the end of December of this year. Here's why from Aiko Miguel.
Commission on Elections Chair Andres Bautista confirmed today a post in his social media accounts that he is resigning. Based on his personal letter to COMELEC personnel, he will remain as their chairman only until the end of December 2017. Bautista said it was not an easy decision. However, there are pressing matters involving his family that needs his utmost attention. He expresses his gratitude to his employees' support, especially during the most challenging times of his career.
From the very start, sabi ko, na hindi naman talaga tayo happy to po sa kahit anong posisyon. Ang dapat bigyan ko talaga ng halaga at pagtuunan ng pansin ay ang aking pamilya. And that is really the main reason why I have tendered my resignation.
The poll chief also confirmed that he already submitted his resignation letter to President Rodrigo Duterte. He also explained that he intended to give the president ample time to look for a replacement to the position he is vacating. Meanwhile, Chairman Bautista strongly denies any deal behind his resignation, specifically referring to the recent dismissal of an impeachment complaint against him filed in the lower house of Congress.
So walang ex-deal or trade-off. Ang maganda sa ginawa ng House Committee on Justice is that yung kanilang pamantayan na kanilang ginamit sa impeachment ng ibang mga officials at sa aking impeachment ay pare-pareho. Talagang they were just observing what they were doing and they were not playing favorites.
For her part, Commissioner Rowena Guanzon expresses dismay over the sudden decision of the COMELEC chief, saying they were not even informed before Bautista announced it to the public.
It's really a surprise for us kung bakit ngayon niya sinabi at parang biglaan. Wala nga kaming na-receive na formal resignation. Usually, yung resignation na yan dapat address yan to the Commission and Bank. Kasi we are a collegial body.
In response, Bautista has this to say.
Ang Pangulo po ay ang appointing authority. Kung kaya't sa kanyang tanggapan po inihain yung ating sulat.
Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo said he expected Bautista's decision in order to protect his family amid the controversies he is currently facing. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The House of Representatives reverses its earlier decision dismissing the impeachment complaint against COMELEC Chairman Andres Bautista and instead moves to forward the complaint to the Senate Impeachment Court. Grace Casin tells us why.
COMELEC Chairman Andres Bautista may soon face the Senate Impeachment Court. This after House retracts its earlier decision to junk the complaints against the poll chief. With a 137 and 75 votes, the House plenary resurrected the impeachment complaint that was discarded by the House Committee on Justice. House Speaker Pantalon Alvarez himself voted against the dismissal of the complaint. The House Committee on Justice is now tasked to write the articles of impeachment against Bautista. At the same time, will be submitted to the Senate Impeachment Court for them to formally start the impeachment trial. Among the allegations in the complaint against Bautista are the alleged hidden wealth or the non-declaration of the poll chief's wealth in his SALN, his alleged acceptance of referral fees from Smartmatic, non-action on the glitches in the transparency server in the height of the 2016 elections, and other problems inside the COMELEC. Congressman Harry Roque, the endorser of the impeachment complaint, believes that Bautista just wants to score against the House by filing his resignation, as he can always withdraw it as the resignation was not irrevocable. He alleges that it is Bautista's means to avoid the impeachment proceedings, as the rule stated that it will take another year for another impeachment complaint to be filed against the poll chief.
Tingin ko talaga iisahan yon. Kasi sasabihin niya, well, ang pangako ko naman, kaya nila binasura sa committee level, magre-resign ako. Pero walang kasiguruduhan.
Earlier today, House Speaker explains that even though Bautista has filed his resignation letter, they will still proceed to the impeachment process as long as the poll chief remains in his office until his resignation has become effective on December 31st.
Diretso na yan sa impeachment court. Unless, sabihin niya, yung resignation niya effective immediately at this very hour.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Meanwhile, just this evening, COMELEC Chairman Andres Bautista tweeted his side on the issue, calling such a move by Congress to resurrect the impeachment complaint against him as unnecessary. This is so since he already rendered his resignation to President Rodrigo Duterte effective end of December of this year. Nevertheless, the poll chief says he will abide by the Constitution and the rules regarding the said impeachment complaint.
Meanwhile, House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez confirms that several congressmen signified their intention to endorse the impeachment complaint set to be filed against Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales before the lower house of Congress. But Alvarez refuses to name the said lawmakers. Speaker Alvarez assures that the complaint will undergo proper process in case the filing will push through in the House of Representatives.
Meron. Hindi ko mabilang. Ayaw kong bilangin.
House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez calls the Senate as a slow-moving chamber of the Congress. This stems from the looming delay on the deliberation of the administration's federalism agenda. Alvarez adds that the Senate should not complain if the House will be submitting two impeachment cases, as it is the duty of the senators to work as mandated by the public.
Ay, tanong mo yan sa mabagal na kapulungan. Huwag dito sa amin. Dahil dito, kinakaya namin lahat. Kung kailangan mag-overtime kami, para tapusin yung trabaho namin, nag-overtime kami.
Let's take a look at the traffic situation now along some major roads in Metro Manila. On Marcos Highway, Santolan in Pasig City, vehicles are fast moving on the lane going to Cubao, while motorists on the lane going to Masinag are experiencing heavy flow of vehicles. On Alabang Sapote Road, the traffic flow is light on the lane going to Muntinlupa City and South Luzon Expressway or SLEX. On the lane going to Ayala, Alabang and Las Piñas City, the flow of vehicles is bumper to bumper. On C3 Caloocan City, there is a slight delay on the lane going to A Mabini. Motorists are also experiencing light to moderate flow of vehicles on the lane going to A Bonifacio. Meanwhile, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB postpones the release of its decision on the petition for a 2-peso increase in minimum fares in public utility jeepneys. Here's why from Joanne Nano.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB begins the hearing on the petition of some transport groups asking for a 10-peso minimum fare in jeepneys. However, the LTFRB postpones the release of a decision on the said request due to the lack of documents and evidence that would support the fare hike petition. The LTFRB board will summon first some commuter groups to consider their position regarding the matter. However, the transport groups want to implement the fare hike at the soonest possible time as opposed to the calls of some to enforce first the modernization of jeepneys before increasing its minimum fare.
Sa ngayon dinidibdib namin mga operator, yung presyo ng mga spare parts, dinidibdib ng aming mga driver, ang halaga ng aming ginagamit na panggatong ang diesel sapagkat may kataasan ako. doon sa punto ng modernization, once na nag-modernize na kami, hindi na kami magbabanggit kung magtaas man kami ng pamasahe doon sa mga spare parts sapagkat mga brand new yan.
Hindi namin kailangan hintayin ang modernization para dito. It is, we need to consider yung attendant circumstances para doon sa current issues, no, notwithstanding the pending modernization.
Some transport groups are complaining that jeepney drivers are earning only 200 pesos daily. The LTFRB set the next hearing on the jeepney fare hike petition on the 24th of October. Meanwhile, transport groups Pasang Mazda, Fedjudap, LTAP, Altodap, and ACTO denies the statement of George San Mateo of Biston that they will join in the massive transport strike on the 16th and 17th of this month. The transport groups maintain that they will not join in the said transport strike as they support the jeepney modernization program of the government. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Filipino hospitality has become more evident in consular missions of the Philippine Embassy in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Here's why from Jane Robles.
For 8 years of living and working in Vietnam, Benji used to travel back home to the Philippines with his wife and 3 kids just to renew their passports. It was only this year that he was able to try the services in consular mission of the Philippine Embassy in Vietnam. When asked about his experience, Benji says he is satisfied.
So far, so good. First time kong maka-attend ng or gamitin ng service ng consular mission. Tutuwa ako para sa aking pamilya. Very accommodating, courteous, at masaya. Masaya ako sa binigay nilang mga serbisyo.
George has been traveling to and from Vietnam for 9 years. Now, after he migrated to the United States in the 80s, he too feels overwhelmed by the experience, especially after getting assistance from volunteers.
I don't know how it can be possible without the volunteers. To all our kababayans here in Vietnam, maraming salamat for helping and assisting us, the Filipinos, for renewals and embassy needs.
Consul General Cynthia Pelayas said to have extra hands from the volunteers of UNTV and members Church of God International is truly a big help for them as they are able to focus and address specific consular concerns of our kababayans.
I hope po na naging maganda po yung inyong karanasan dito sa City International Hospital nung kami po gumagawa ng mobile consular services together with members Church of God International. Nakapagbigay po sila ng free medical services like yung CBM at saka yung sa blood pressure. And then po napapansin po ng mga kliyente po namin na parating may snacks at saka po may water. So salamat po muli.
Even non-Filipinos who transact business with the embassy are pleased to feel the Filipino hospitality offered by our kasangbahays.
At first, I was afraid that it would take like a bit long, like up to 2 days or more. But finally, I can finish all the things this morning within like 2 or 3 hours, which makes me very happy because the service is good.
Our compatriots can attest that Filipino volunteerism and hospitality lives even outside of our home country.
Ngayon is parang level up siya talaga. So services, especially yung volunteers. These are the things that we need here. Plus, iba pa rin yung alagang Pinoy. Salamat.
Jane Robles for Serbisyong Kasangbahay.
Next on Y News. President Rodrigo Duterte accepts Russian government pledge to donate 5,000 rifles and 20 units of military trucks to the armed forces of the Philippines.
And the World Health Organization warns that the number of obese children worldwide is likely to outnumber those severely underweight by the year 2022.
Y News will be right back.
President Rodrigo Duterte says Russian government will donate 5,000 rifles to the armed forces of the Philippines. Here's why from Rosalie Cos.
Aside from housing units to be built for the 1st Scout Ranger Regiment of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Duterte said the Russian government will donate rifles for the Filipino soldiers.
As part of yung nadala ko galing Russia, pumunta kami, we will have the Kalashnikov. So yung pag 5,000 sa inyo, ang baril siguro Kalashnikov na. Mag-alar na lang kayo ng Russian para makumpleto. We expect the arms to coming in.
The president made the statement when he led the groundbreaking ceremony for the 1,000 housing units for the military personnel. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana added that aside from the Kalashnikov rifles with 1 million rounds of ammunition, Russia will also give 20 units of army trucks. Lorenzana clarified that such donations will be given for free without any deal in return. The Russian ship carrying this military equipment will arrive in the Philippines on October 22, and the turnover ceremony will be on October 25 in Manila. Secretary Lorenzana also said the donated Russian firearms will be used to counter terrorism in the country.
Sila rin kasi also fighting terrorism sa kanilang bansa, and they want to help the worldwide fight against terrorism. Yan ang kanilang rason.
Meanwhile, the 1,000 housing units for the military personnel in San Miguel, Bulacan are targeted for completion in December 2018. Overall, the administration targets to build 10,910 housing units for the military and police personnel in various parts of the country throughout President Duterte's term. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, San Miguel, Bulacan.
Meanwhile, Defense Chief Delfin Lorenzana says very soon and the Marawi crisis will come to an end. Here's why from Joanna.
Defense Chief Delfin Lorenzana believes just a few more days and the rebellion in the now war-torn Marawi city is about to end.
Within this month, middle of this month, tapos na yan.
Lorenzana notes the recent accomplishments of the government troops fighting against the terrorists. He explains the military's efforts to rescue all the hostages of the Malta terror group is the reason why the military was not able to finish the rebellion in September.
Now, I can understand the reluctance to finish the job end of September because they were actually thinking of saving the civilians inside.
The defense chief says they understand the slow but careful movement of military troops to ensure no further civilian deaths.
I see the wisdom of the military commanders on the ground to do it slowly and carefully so that, every life that we can save there is worth the delay.
Based on Lorenzana's pronouncement, the clashes in Marawi City might end this weekend. The Marawi City rebellion is now at its 147th day. The crisis has already killed 802 Mauter rebels and 160 government troops. The military was also able to confiscate 827 firearms from the rebels. Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP spokesperson Major General Restituto Padilla says the military recently recovered more cadavers on the main battle area.
Recovered also in the area are 8 high-powered firearms, 2 RPGs, 4 M16s, 1 M4 and 1 M14, and dozens of IED.
The PNP SOCO is now conducting DNA testing on the cadavers to reveal their identification. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
20 countries, including the Philippines, convene in the first Yushan Forum on Innovation and Progress, now being held in Taipei, Taiwan. Amiel Pascual will tell us why.
Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen led the opening of the first Yushan Forum today in Taipei City. The Yushan Forum aims to promote the exchange of ideas, gathering of talents, and applications of technology for innovation and progress across Asia-Pacific. The forum also aims to promote Taiwan's new southbound policy, which seeks to advance regional ties in the field of human resources, innovation-based industries, agriculture, medical cooperation, and industrial supply chain.
Through the establishment of the 6 investment windows in Southeast Asian countries and India, we have also encouraged more bilateral trade and investment. At the same time, we have relaxed visa restrictions on several new southbound countries. We're seeing the dividends of such efforts.
Invited in the forum were delegations from 20 countries, and among the guest speakers were former Philippine Vice President Sofista Gingona. Gingona in his speech stresses the geographical relation of the Philippines and Taiwan and how these two nations have been living in harmony. He believes that through Taiwan's new southbound policy, the Philippines will also benefit in terms of trade, agriculture, manufacturing, education, and tourism.
Yung Clark Airport ay magiging international airport na yun. At sa likod nung Clark International Airport, there will be more than 30,000 green land. Kailangan sumali na ron ang Taiwan. Yes, the airport is building the traveling, and we have to support the demands of a growing industrial economy.
The UNTV Forum, which runs until Thursday, will also discuss the engagement of non-government organizations and private sectors towards regional development and the role of young leaders in creating regional community. Amiel Pascual, UNTV News and Rescue, Taipei, Taiwan.
In other news, Senator Antonio Trillanes IV berates the recommendation of Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Richard Gordon for presidential son Vice Mayor Paulo Duterte and presidential son-in-law attorney Mans Carpio to undergo lifestyle check. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
A cover-up. This is how Senator Antonio Trillanes IV calls the recommendation made by Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Richard Gordon for Davao City Vice Mayor Paulo Duterte and Attorney Mans Carpio to undergo lifestyle check. The Blue Ribbon Committee's recommendation stems from the Senate inquiry on the controversial Bureau of Customs smuggling of 6.4 billion pesos worth of shabu.
Ang punto ko nga rito, yung mga kababayan natin na mahihirap, na suspected drug users at pushers ay pinapatay lang basta-basta. Pero dito, yung mga nasa likod ng pag-import ng tonelalang illegal drugs, lifestyle check lang ang recommendation. So sa akin, this is a clear case of a cover-up ni Senator Gordon para pagtakpan niya yung kanyang mga amo sa politika.
Trillanes adds that if Senator Gordon is seriously considering finding out the root of the issue, he shouldn't have immediately ended the Senate probe and absolved Duterte and Carpio. The 52-page draft committee report also recommends a widespread reform in the BOC, filing of criminal cases against all BOC Command Center officials and other personalities, including former Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faldon, an in-depth investigation on the personalities involved in the entry of the multi-billion peso shabu shipment, and for the National Bureau of Investigation to conduct said lifestyle check on Vice Mayor Duterte and Attorney Carpio. Senate Majority Leader Vicente Sotto III, on the other hand, believes conducting a lifestyle check on the presidential son should not be an issue.
With or without the chismis, pwede naman talagang i-lifestyle check ang lahat ng mga public officials eh. Ewan ko lang kung bagay kay Attorney Carpio yun dahil hindi naman siya public official eh.
He adds it is still possible for the said committee draft report to be revised.
Sa plenary mismo, pagka tinag-uusapan na namin yan, kung ano yung mga kulang, pwede namin idagdag. Kung ano yung mga sobra, pwede namin i-amend at ibawas.
Senator Gordon had earlier reiterated that he is not being biased towards anybody in the hearing, especially with the side of the first family. UNTV News and Rescue still awaits any statement from both Vice Mayor Duterte and Attorney Carpio regarding the matter. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Former President and now Pampanga Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo switches from the Lakas CMD to the administration party PDP Laban. Arroyo is a former official of the Lakas CMD. Also switching to the President's PDP Laban are Camiguin Lone District Representative Xavier Jesus Romualdo and Lanao del Sur Congressman Nacero Pangandaman and Raul Ambino, one of Arroyo's lawyer. Even Bohol Representative Arthur Yap, a former member of the Nationalist People's Coalition, also switched to the administration's party. They formally swore an oath in front of House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez, the Secretary General of the PDP Laban. The management of the San Jose del Monte Water District set up a help desk following the explosion of a water tank last week. Leslie Lomboen tells us why.
Affected residents of the water tank explosion in the village of Muzon will undergo strict questioning before getting financial aid from the management of the Jose del Monte Water District. The management of the water district has set up a help desk to easily identify the residents affected by the incident and thus in need of financial assistance. After the registering, they will undergo deliberation to be conducted by the committee of the water district to determine the amount of aid needed for the reconstruction of their damaged houses and establishments. For now, the priority of the water district is providing medical assistance to injured and burial assistance to those who died. The residents meanwhile appeal to the management of the water district to immediately provide them aid.
Naiinip kami kasi tinan mo naman ilang araw na ng petsa ngayon. Naghihintay nga kami ng parang mabilis na action.
A-assess pa nila kung ano yung damages sa amin, pero wala pang date kung kailan talaga ibibigay. Nagbahay-bahay na daw sila kaya lang kami kasi wala silang pupuntahang bahay sa amin. Establishment.
Some residents plan to file a complaint if the water district fails to provide them with aid.
Sa pagtulong naman po, kamukha po ng mother ko na nakakonfine, ooperahan siya sa bukas. Sinagot naman po nila lahat. At opo, kung magkakasundo po, basta inililista po nila, ito po yung bahay namin, ito yung gamit namin, nililista po. Opo, pero magbablatter pa din po kami sa barangay kasi para tingnan namin kung magkakasundo kami.
More than 40 families are affected by the water tank explosion, while not less than 10 houses and establishments were damaged. This is still aside from the vehicles and motorcycles damaged by the water that burst from the tank. Leslie Longboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Obese children will soon outnumber underweight children worldwide, according to a major new study on malnutrition. Here's why from Marge Pelayo.
1 in 5 children is now obese or overweight. Thin or weak children have long been the enduring image associated with poor nutrition in developing countries, while obesity is considered a curse of rich nations. However, a recent report from the World Health Organization showed an obvious shift in this trend. WHO released a report published in The Lancet which showed that obesity rates among 5 to 19-year-olds rose tenfold in the past 4 decades, from 11 million in 1975 to 124 million in 2016. In line with the observance of World Obesity Day today, the World Agency offers recommendations of policy actions for countries to tackle obesity and overweight in young children.
These actions are all feasible for all countries to tackle ending obesity and overweight in children. Countries will start at different places, perhaps in the schools, perhaps in the physical activity, perhaps in the public education and awareness, and the regulatory and marketing. But all countries can tackle obesity through these 6 recommendations.
The report says 0.7% of children were obese in 1975, compared to 5.6% of girls and 7.8% of boys in 2016. If the trend continues, more children and adolescents will be obese than moderately to severely underweight by 2022, according to the analysis of the weight and height measurements of nearly 130 million people, the largest ever epidemiological study according to WHO.
Being an overweight child or adolescent means you're more likely to be an overweight adult. And it's also more likely to lead to earlier onset of conditions like heart disease, cancer and diabetes. Overweight in childhood and adolescence also causes some social psychological problems for the children themselves, more stigmatism, more bullying, less optimal school performance.
The study shows that there are now 124 million children and adolescents in the world who are obese, and an additional 214 million overweight children and adolescents. Marge Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Coming up on Y News. Orange skies cover Anaheim's Disneyland as wildfire rages across California.
And a first-of-its-kind beauty pageant breaks barriers for people with disabilities coming from different parts of the world.
More from Y News after this break.
A championship-caliber match awaits the UNTV Cup crowd this Sunday. Bernard Dadis will tell us why.
Two-time champion AFP Cavaliers meets rookie team COA Enablers in the first game of the triple header on Sunday on the UNTV Cup hard court. The Soldiers camp is adamant it can claim another win for their beneficiary.
Mas inspired yung team ngayon na makuha yung championship because of the beneficiaries we have right now, yung fellow soldiers. Mas gusto namin makuha talaga.
And to do that, Coach Sunny Manukat's side takes to the training court ahead of the match.
Kaya we've been practicing hard every day. Yung transition, kahit yung mga aging players ko, tumatakbo rin. Kaya binibiglis ko lang yung rotation ng players. So bumalik kami dun sa dati naming ginagawa, which is a running game.
On the other hand, basketball legend head coach Freddy Huvalde's club gears up intensively ahead of the hardwood action. Coach Freddy admits there are areas the Enablers must improve on after a loss from the DOH Health Achievers last September 17.
Siguro sa nangyaring to, siguro wake-up call sa bawat isa, hindi lang sa coaching staff, pati sa mga players na kailangan talagang mag-ensayo ng gusto, kailangan ng hard work. Pagdating ng game, talagang number one, stamina mo, yung mga play ninyo, hindi nyo magagawa. Kaya yun ang sigurong dapat na improve namin.
Ex-pro big man Ernesto Ballesteros and Arnold Gamboa, who both made over 30 points in their debut game, will try to lift the team from its 0-1 win-loss record. Watch out for the AFP Cavaliers COA Enablers battle on October 15, 2 p.m. live on UNTV, emanating from the Pasig City Sports Center with live streaming via untvweb.com. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the news October 11, 2017. I'm William Theo.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Darlene Basingan.
Because we need to know, we always ask why. Thank you for watching
Y News.